Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about being consistent because this is something that people struggle with in a lot of different places, and there are an awful lot of things in life that can be helped by being consistent, by setting yourself out in a way that you can achieve everything that you have said you are going to achieve, or that you can act in a certain way without deviating too much from the things around you getting in your way, or from people kind of knocking you off course or anything like that. And so I wanted to go through just a few things that would ideally help you be more consistent. I know they've helped me be more consistent. I mean, one of the biggest challenges that I've had with generating videos for you guys is making sure that I have enough videos every week, that I've got everything sorted, that everything is uploaded, especially considering some of my videos for me take 2-3 hours to upload at the moment. And so as a result, here are some things that I just wanted to kind of put out to you guys as but maybe some ways that consistency can be a thing that's more easily achievable for you, both in terms of like getting stuff done, but also in terms of maybe being more consistent in yourself, not having your behavior swing wildly in one direction or another, so that you either push people away or just aren't necessarily easy to be around. And so let's start off here. The first thing that I would say is that you've got to get into like a routine. There has to be a kind of schedule to your basic actions, to your normal habits. Yeah, because the basic routine is then what everything else gets built on top of. So you've got the basic routine of getting up in the morning, of doing a very set number of things, of making sure that you've got your I don't know, your breakfast that you want that morning ready, that you're clean, that you have your clothes sorted, that you know go through that and have it all very easily laid out and set out, making sure that you're getting up at the right time, doing all of the things in the right order, making sure that you're ready for the day. You know, that's a good kind of example of what I mean by a routine, because obviously the things when you're actually trying to achieve a goal, they're not likely to be as routine, because you're not going to be attempting to achieve the same goal again and again and again and again over the course of several weeks. It's going to be, I don't know, one week you've got a big thing at work, the next week you've got a big thing that you're doing with friends, and so you've got these different goals that you're aiming for. They're going to have different circumstances, but the thing is, if your life, the rest of your life, has that kind of level of routine and consistency, then it means you can build on it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be boring. It just means that you have your basic things, chores and keeping yourself alive and all that kind of thing, just as a habit. It's just a thing that you do. It happens. You do it at the right time. You do it at the right place. And then as a result, when it comes to everything else, the big goals, the big things, the curveballs that will be thrown your way, it allows you very much to then adapt to that, because everything else is very solid. Everything else is just plodding along. The next thing is that you got to do things even when you don't really feel like it. Like the last few days have been a struggle for me, especially just because it's been so damn warm here. You know, it's been over 30 degrees in the sun almost every day. We've had in the shade, just inside, even with the fan on, even with my windows open, which they aren't now because I'm recording. But even with all of those things, it's still been 27, 28, 29 degrees in here, and so as a result, it's not left me really feeling inclined to turn on my PC that generates a fair amount of heat and then sit here in front of a light. You know, it's not necessarily that something that I feel like doing, but my inner voice and those feelings and that discomfort and all those kind of things, they're completely ignorable. You can disregard them if you choose to. Yeah, and this is something that an awful lot of people don't get. Discomfort and anything that's not kind of extreme pain, um, or something that actually causes damage to you. You know, those little things that poke at your comfort zone that you don't like very much. Those little feelings that aren't really hurting you, but they don't make you feel nice. You know, all of those things can be ignored. They can be disregarded, moved away from. You can do whatever you want, and any way you want. You just, if it doesn't feel great, then yeah, fine, it doesn't feel great. But if you need to do it, then you do it. If you want to have this thing done, then you just go and act on it. Yeah, because again, those little feelings, those little voices in your head that are telling you that this isn't nice, this isn't good. Oh, why do you bother? Those are all things that you can ignore, that you can just shrug off. Yeah, because that's all they are. They're voices. They're your own voice inside your head. And who chooses whether you stop talking? Yeah, you do. So if they're your own voice inside your own head, and you're the one that can choose if you stop talking to yourself or anyone else, then you can silence those inner voices just by choosing to. Pretty straightforward. The next thing that I would kind of go into is you kind of need to take responsibility very much for the process and the product, and not necessarily the overall result. And this is kind of counterintuitive coming from my stance on things, where I'm usually very results focused and I don't care how we get there, the process doesn't matter, but we need to get to the result. But if I use the YouTube and me generating videos for you guys as the analogy here, then I'm taking responsibility for the process of making sure that there are videos, of making sure that there is a product, the product being the videos that are actually up online, not just the videos that are sat on my hard drive, but the videos that I've actually uploaded and done thumbnails for and whatever else, or that's the kind of important thing there. You need to have a look at that, because the end result is you guys watching it, is you guys taking something away from it, is you guys enjoying it, dropping me your feedback, starting more of a discussion, going back and forth. There's more to it than just the here's a video as the overall result. But I can't purely focus on that result of wanting the conversation with you guys, which I desperately kind of want to have, but there's no way for me to really force that. Yeah, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. And to those of you who have turned around, left me a comment, sent me an email, followed me in other places, then I very much appreciate the time you've taken to do that. And I hope that when I've been able to respond to you, you guys have found that to be as nice as when I found the comments and the emails from you guys in the first place. But as a result, the responsibility that I'm taking, though, is I've got to be responsible for making sure that those videos are up, that they're done, that they're up when I say they're going to be up, and that's it. Which 11 every day GMT isn't necessarily the toughest time for me to do it, but it's as I said, when they're taking 2-3 hours, I'm having to try and schedule them beforehand so that they're up and ready, and that can potentially wear me down on and have me kind of a bit worried that I won't have the time. A couple of times I've had to upload overnight just because it's been a bigger video that's not wanted to upload quickly, and so as a result, we need to take account of that as process. Yeah, so moving on to another analogy, you can't necessarily always, with a party, for instance, yeah, where you're organising a party, the end result is going to be having a fun time, having a fun evening, meeting up with the friends, actually doing the stuff that you said you're going to, all that kind of thing. You can't, to be consistent and to maintain that kind of consistency in the way that you're operating and the way you're behaving, you can't focus purely on the result, because some people might not have fun, some people might have things that cause them to turn up, some people might have other issues. Yeah, the fact that they may not have a great evening, that your evening may be spoiled, that whatever, that end result, if that's entirely what you're dependent on for putting the thing together in the first place, then there's a good chance that it's not going to pan out as well for you. You're going to have an awful lot of stress in the build up, and then there may not be a particularly big payoff at the end, which then potentially kind of brings you down a bit, and we'll get onto that in a second. But if you're looking at what can I do to make this the best, I'm going to focus on the product, which would be this thing is now sorted so that me and my friends can go out. You know, the process of building that up, of booking it out, of, you know, making sure that people are free to do it and all that kind of thing. That process to the point where this is now an experience that is ready for us, not focusing purely on what the experience will be when you're in the middle of it. And then the next couple are kind of, one of them is kind of cliche, and the other one I feel has much more of a point to it. So let's get the cliche one out of the way first, and that is, you know, you have to find out kind of what you love and what you like, and, you know, go and do it. And, you know, that requires some self-experimentation. It requires you both going away with friends and seeing what you enjoy doing, going away by yourself and finding out the things that you're really kind of focused on and want to do. You know, you've got to have that kind of experimentation to find out what suits you best, find out how it works for you best, and then, you know, once you've found that out, go do it. I mean, I didn't think that I would necessarily enjoy making the video side of things as much as I enjoy the presenting side of things and the discussion of the ideas, although I've actually come to the more I've sat down, the more that it's become part of a thing that I do, the more the I'm able to connect with you guys as a result of more people finding me online, whether it's only because they want to stick around for the gaming videos or the dating videos or the politics and news or the month in review where they're only coming back once a month, or whatever, regardless of which videos you're interested in, or if you're interested in everything that I've done so far and you've enjoyed it, then, you know, taking again my situation as a good analogy, as a good representative situation for this, you know, I've come in and I started off doing something in the way of presenting. If I can speak, I can't present at the moment, obviously, but in regards to presenting information, in regards to presenting ideas, in regards to having a discussion about it, you know, I then forced myself to do the video side of things because, you know, I was getting frustrated, as I've said before in other videos, I was getting frustrated with the way it was going, just doing what, you know, just conversing with one person at a time, just dealing with one person at a time, when I could see so many people who could benefit from the things that I was coming across, the things that I was talking about, the questions I was asking of people, you know, and so then coming along and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do the videos. And then I had to learn and I had to be consistent with it, and that was where, again, I was having to brush aside the inner voices in my head that would kind of bring me down. And then we got onto this place where I'm actually like, yeah, actually I'm enjoying, you know, I enjoyed tech already. Now I'm getting to tinker with a new load of tech that I've not really experienced before, with the video editing software, which I'm still not got my head around entirely, with the recording, with cameras and microphones and whatever else. You know, it's an awful lot more fun, and it's something that I'm really enjoying, in addition to the fact that then I can also bring it to you guys. I can continue with the discussions and the things that I loved and wanted to bring to this to begin with. So yeah, that's kind of the more cliche one, where it's like, find something you love and go do it. But the next thing, which kind of rolls into those inner voices in the head that we were talking about before, is much more focused around self-esteem and self-image. And so the first thing is that you can't dwell on things that you've done in the past or things that you were in the past, because you have to kind of, as you're evolving, as you want to be consistent, you need to decide what that means, where you're going, what kind of consistency you're looking for, which parts of you need to be consistent and you want to be consistent. So you need to drop those old self-images. You know, there should be no excuses like, oh, well, I've done this before and it's just going to happen again, because it's an obviously different situation. Yeah, time has obviously moved on, you've acknowledged it in what you've said, in which case drop the old self-images, focus on who you are now and where you're going now. Yeah, again, don't look too far into the future, because that's, again, looking at the result more than the process. but focus on kind of where you're going in the moment. And then the other thing is that with every time you're kind of looking at these things and you're not being realistic, and you're focusing on the result more than the process, and you're not forcing yourself to be consistent and to like do the things even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't enjoy it, then each time you don't manage those things, each time you don't kind of get into the place that you thought you were going to be, you end up lowering your self-esteem, you end up getting more negative about yourself and about the things you're doing, you end up not being consistent, you end up having much more kind of variable swings in productivity, in how sociable you are, and the other things that you're doing. And obviously if you're trying to be consistent, having these big swings in different directions is not what you really want to do. And so you need to keep a good track on living in that moment, not letting yourself down, being realistic, continuing to do those things, as said before, that you might not necessarily feel like doing, but you have said that you are going to do. But anyway, that's my take on being consistent. Again, it would be great if we had a lot of people who were consistent in the world, for example amongst our leadership or amongst celebrities who fly off the handle in different directions, change their mind on a regular basis, but people around you who you feel you can rely on to be a certain way, and then they flip out and go in a completely different direction for absolutely no reason. People who change their mind every 10 seconds or can't make their mind up at all. All of these kind of individuals they're not necessarily bad, they're not necessarily meaning to be a pain in the arse by doing these things, but it does slow down the people around them, and it does kind of bring about a more negative slant on things when dealing with that person. And so as a result, with being consistent, with improving your consistency, you prevent people from having those issues. You make yourself easier to work with. You gain more in the way of progress, and you are more productive. And as a result, it can only ever really be a good thing to me. I mean, the counter argument might be, but if you're so consistent all the time, then surely you become predictable, and predictable is boring, and you've said it yourself in other videos that then that's a lack of variety and it doesn't help with things. I'm like, well, no, you can still have variety whilst being consistent. Yeah, just because you ensure that your breakfast is at a certain time, structured in a certain way, that it fits in with the rest of your day the way you want it to, that doesn't mean you have the same thing for breakfast every morning. It doesn't mean that you have the same people with you for breakfast every morning. It doesn't mean that just because you're having breakfast in a certain time and doing it in a certain order of events throughout your mundane day, it doesn't mean that you have breakfast even in the same place every day. Yeah, it just means that you've decided that point in the morning is the best time for you to eat, and so you go eat. So it doesn't have to mean a lowering of variety, it doesn't have to necessarily mean complete predictability, it just means that you've got some structure to work on. Because of course, as we've said before, with all these things, they're structures, they all need a foundation, they all need stuff to build on. So if you think of the foundation as your realistic mindset and the fact that you're setting out to do things and then you're going to do them, the routine that you've developed is very much the ground floor, and then every floor after that is going to be built on top of it, which can be every different other thing you do. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Being consistent, do people who aren't consistent wind you up? Are you one of these people who are guilty of not being consistent and kind of following through on the things that you say? Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think and what your experiences are. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful or interesting, then please drop us a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.